Smart, smart, do. We are the children, the children of God. Come, come, come. We change our world. We have what it takes to do it smart and make it smart. Welcome to our Smart Do.
Hello viewers, welcome to another exciting episode as we talk the specific individuals in Standard 6. We're having a look at social studies, our topic known as maize growing in Kenya and Tanzania. So welcome our viewers all the way from United Kingdom, USA, Australia, Tanzania, Kenya, and the whole of Africa. Welcome to our learning session. Now, as we embark on our study today, we are looking at growing of maize in Kenya and Tanzania. Now, with me here, I have what we call maize. Now, this is what we call the white maize, okay? Now, this type of maize is what we call the Katumani maize. It grows very fast, okay? And within 3 months, it's able to be up and people could get this wonderful maize and they could start eating the maize, okay? Now, as we start, I need for you to understand that maize growing started in Portuguese. Actually, the Portuguese are the people who introduced maize in Kenya. So it was first introduced, okay? It was first introduced by the Portuguese. So the Portuguese are the first people who introduced maize in our country. So they got it from Central America, and we see that this is what we call the white maize, is grown in both Kenya and Tanzania. So we look at the conditions that are necessary or critical in the growing of maize. So we look at conditions necessary for its growth. So we look at the conditions necessary for its growth. Let us look at the conditions necessary. What are the conditions that are very vital? They are necessary, they are key in the growing of sisal. Number one, we find that it requires rainfall. So we find that rainfall in millimeters, about 700 millimeters to about 1,000 millimeters of rainfall. This is annually. Okay? So it requires a moderate amount of rainfall. This is around to 2,500. To around 2,500 millimeters, that is annually. So you find this rainfall is a moderate rainfall. So it requires a moderate kind of rainfall. So you find that the one that I was talking about, the Katumani, this Katumani does not require much rainfall. So it can grow even in semi-arid areas, okay, where even rainfall is below 500 millimeters of rainfall, okay. It requires temperature. It requires temperature of about 18 to 27 degrees. So it requires temperature of about 17 degrees Celsius to about 27 degrees kind of temperature. Another one is that it does well in variety of soils. So long as they are well drained, so does well in variety of soils. So long as they are well drained. So does well in a variety of soils, so long as they are well drained. And during harvesting, it requires dry season. So it requires a dry season during harvesting. It requires a dry season during harvesting. So it requires that hot climate, that dry climate during harvesting. So you can't harvest during a wet season. So it requires a dry season for you to be able to harvests. So I would just like to look at maize in Kenya. I would like us, we look at maize in Kenya and see where is it grown in Kenya, how do they do it in Kenya. So we look at maize in Kenya. Let us look at maize in Kenya. So let us look at maize in Kenya. Maize in Kenya. And number one, as we look at maize in Kenya, it's grown both in large scale and small scale. So grown, both in large scale and small scale. So it's grown both in large scale and small scale. So it's grown both in large scale and small scale in Kenya. Now, in large scale, it's grown in areas such as, so in large scale, it's grown in areas such as Tanzania. Yeah, in large scale, it's grown in areas such as Tanzania. We have Bungoma, we have Narok, we have Bungoma, we have Narok area. Okay, we have Nandi area. We have Nandi. Nandi is also another area. We have Uswangishu. These are areas. And Nakuru area. This is where it's grown in large scale. So these are the areas that do large scale maize growing. So land preparation, they do land preparation, which is done by machinery. Okay. So land preparation, they do land preparation. They prepare the land, the machinery, and also they do weeding using the machinery. But when they do harvesting, now that's when the human labor comes into place. Okay. So as they do the large scale, preparation is done by machinery. Both the weeding and the land preparation they do with machinery, whereas the harvesting is done by human labor or human effort. So that's a process that they do. Now we have what we call the National Central Board Produce, okay? The NCPB. We have the NCPB, which is the National Corporation and Produce Board. These are boards run by the government that carries out and undertake activities of collecting, of buying and distributing of maize on behalf of the government. So they buy the maize and distribute the maize all over the country, which is now the National Corporation and Produce Board. Now we go to Tanzania very quickly. We see how maize in Tanzania is done. Maize in Tanzania. We'd like to see how maize in Tanzania is done. Okay, so we say maize in Tanzania. So they also undertake both the large scale and small scale farming, the small scale type of growing. So also in Tanzania they do both the large and the small scale. Now in Tanzania, a small scale is practiced in areas in Tanzania. So in small scale farming, it's done in areas of Bukoba. It's done in areas of known as Bukoba. We also have Ngara, Kabondo. We have also area known as Ngara. We have Kabondo. I think you believe you hear these interesting names. We have Mara, Moshi, Arusha. We have Moshi. We also have Arusha. Okay. So these are areas they do what we call the small scale type of farming. Now, in large scale, it's done in areas such as we have Arusha region. We also have Tanga. We also have Moshi. Okay? We also have Moshi that does large scale. We also have Iringa area. Iringa, the areas of Iringa. And we have plains of Ruaha and Rufiji. Plains of Ruaha and Rufiji. Okay. So these are the areas that are being done in the area. So in the same, machinery does the land preparation and the weeding, and the human labor is done in harvesting. We are to look at the contribution it has done. Okay? Contribution to the economy. How has maize contributed to the economy? Okay? So contribution to the economy. Contribution to the economy. So how has maize contributed to the economy? So one, it has been able to create employment. Okay? Create employment. So most of the people have been employed both in the industry and also in the farms. So it has created employment. Number two, people are able to earn a living and also improve their standard of living. So the farmers are able to earn a living through maize growing, and also it has also enabled them to improve their standards of living. Another one is a raw material of corn oil and animal feeds. So it's a raw material. So it's a raw material for corn oil and animal feeds. So there are a lot of animal feeds that are made from maize. Number four that we are looking at is that it's able to earn foreign exchange through export. We're able to get foreign exchange through export. So when maize is exported, the country is able to earn foreign exchange. Another one is that it's able to add fertility in the soil. So adds fertility to the soil. When those leaves dry and they fall on the soil, they add fertility to the soil. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.